A Polish doctor saved 8,000 Jews from the Nazis.
Wow.
By injecting them with bacteria.
Huh.
This is Unimportant.
Guaranteed to not change your life. This is the Unimportant Podcast.
Welcome to the Unimportant Podcast. My name is Joe Bob. That is Anthony. And this sounds pretty important.
Yeah.
Well, from a historical standpoint, it won't change your everyday life.
Definitely not.
But this is interesting. A Polish doctor saved how many people?
About 8,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is not at all a humorous episode, but it's just an absolutely incredible story, and it's very interesting how it
I would
unfolds.
say so.
So it's 1939. The Germans are overrunning Poland, and a doctor by the name of Eugene Lazowski. So he just gets out of medical school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's a young doctor. The Germans basically take over, and they say you're not allowed to help Jews in any way. Like if you're a Polish citizen, and you're not even allowed to communicate with Jews. Like the Jews kind of had their own neighborhoods and stuff like that. So this guy, being a good dude that he was would basically jump a fence and like sneak into the German neighborhoods in the middle of the night and like give medical care to people that needed it. Just, people that were sick or having babies or whatever you need a doctor for.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So he's kind of already a hero, but then check this out. Him and a fellow doctor somehow discovered, I have no idea how they discovered this, and
that's always one of the weirdest things.
Right?
Like, who discovered that milk tasted good?
Right.
Like someone like a cow was feeding her baby, and like, oh, let me try that.
I'm kind of thirsty too.
Now we have ice cream. So anyways, continue.
So they discovered that some random strain of bacteria makes you test positive for typhus.
Interesting.
Which is a deadly disease.
Whoa.
But you don't actually have it. Like it just makes the test positive.
Well, and at the time too, they probably had, it was one chemical that they were testing for that they linked with typhus probably.
Yep.
And that you can, test positive that way.
Yeah. And so you're totally fine. You don't have it, but you ding on the, if you take a test.
I think I see where this is going.
So this guy goes running around, starting poking all the Jews with this bacteria.
Wow. And so what happens?
What happens is he, the Germans were very concerned about disease at the time.
Yeah.
Too.
As you would be.
Yeah.
I'm still concerned about disease. Right? Hasn't changed.
Right. So if you were a Jew and you had they tested these people before taking off to the work camps or concentration camps or anything like that.
Got it.
Because they were afraid of outbreaks and stuff like that. So they would test them all. And so if they had it, they would not take them. And then so it basically got to a point where this guy, Lazowski, convinced the German, heads of whoever was in charge. He convinced them basically that there's a massive typhus outbreak and that everybody's getting it. It's a disaster.
And they tested all of them.
And so they started testing them like, oh my gosh, this is a complete mess.
No way.
They quarantine off the entire town.
Just to let him die. Right,
just to keep them there because they didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want their soldiers in there. They just basically put a wall around the city.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He then snuck into 12 other cities and did the same thing.
No way.
So 13 cities, the Germans wound up quarantining off, like with walls or however you quarantine a city, because they thought the whole place was dying from typhus.
And what happened after, long term? Did they just did they quarantine them until the war was over, and then all of a sudden?
Pretty much, yeah.
They're fine then? Wow.
Pretty much.
Holy cow.
Until the Germans were eventually beat and retreated from the area. But in those 13 little cities and villages, 8,000 Jews resided and were saved from being taken from
because they tested
camps
positive.
Because they tested positive on a bogus typhus test.
That is awesome.
Who would have thought to go poking people with bacteria and how do you get there? Like
you have to figure out, what causes the test to test positive for, and then you just it makes sense how you would do it.
Yeah.
I don't know any of the chemistry behind any of that sort of stuff, and I wouldn't pretend to. But that's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, this is kind of important, but it's unimportant to you.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of the podcast. If you want to make a difference and change the world, probably listen to something else.